What would cause a man to run from reporters? You know, we talk about the crime and we talk about the issues that's happening within the society on a regular basis. And you always try to figure out what the heck is going on and why is this happening, especially in my city, especially for a lot of y'all that's over in Chicago, Illinois, Metro Chicago area, LA, all of these places. But what would cause a mayor to avoid reporters? I mean, to just completely avoid reporters. If you had to guess, what do you think that looks like? Before we get to the running part, let me give y'all an up-to-date report on what's happening in Chicago outside of the killings.
A new warning this morning about a series of car break-ins on the northwest side. But thieves aren't hitting just any cars. They're targeting law enforcement vehicles. CBS 2's Marissa Perlman is live in Norwood Park, where some of these break-ins happened. Good morning, Marissa.
Good morning to you, Maria. What's interesting here is that police say that these suspects are targeting both marked and unmarked police vehicles. We spoke with a police officer who lives in the Norwood Park neighborhood right here. He says he woke up yesterday morning, walked outside to take his kids to school, and saw that his own police cruiser had the windows completely broken out. This is happening in 3 different neighborhoods, 3 different times since Sunday. Forest Glen, Norwood Park, and Edison Park. At least 2 of these crimes are believed to have happened in the overnight hours. Again, this all happening in residential neighborhoods on the northwest side. Police say a dark-colored SUV pulls up to a parked car. The suspect breaks the window and takes whatever is inside the passenger compartment and trunk. It's not clear exactly what was taken from the cars. In this Norwood Park case, though, we're told the suspects didn't make off with anything. Now, we have asked police what kind of law enforcement vehicles exactly are being targeted, but police would not specify whether that's police cruisers specifically. But they are putting this warning out to the community, asking anyone with information to call Area 5 detectives. We're live in Norwood Park. Marissa Perlman, CBS 2 News.
So the criminals have gotten so brazen and they care so little about law enforcement, rules, regulations, all of that, that they feel comfortable and compelled to even break into police cars. Chicago, y'all a whole nother type of person over there. Let me give a round of applause for the criminals over there that don't have no respect for law enforcement. The criminals have become so brazen in Chicago that they regularly target and have no respect for even the police. They target the police vehicles. They break into those. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane, if you ask me. Now, never want to leave a good opportunity behind to make sure that everybody is taken care of and everybody is held down. Brandon Johnson said, listen, guys, we want to make sure that low-income families, a.k.a. people that don't go to work every day, is still taken care of. And what they're going to do is relaunch a guaranteed income program that allows for you to be able to get free monies the same way that the migrants do. Check it out.
Developing now, 4 years after the start of the COVID pandemic, many are still feeling the impact.
Mayor Johnson is restarting a program. There we are. Mayor Johnson restarting a program.
Oh, man. God bless all of these shows and these newscasts. Y'all might as well just go ahead and give me my $30 million and let me do the whole thing. I got it. We can shoot it right here in Detroit, act like we in Chicago, simulcast it, have it go over to all of the different places, and then make sure that we run up a bag over there. Give me my $30 million. Look at this dumb junk. Look at the cameraman. Cameraman is a migrant. Cameraman is an illegal migrant and can't even focus on the reporters. Look at this.
Developing now, 4 years after the start of the COVID pandemic, many are still feeling the impact.
Mayor Johnson is restarting a program. There we are. Mayor Johnson restarting a program that will provide $500 a month to low-income households for 1 year. This is guaranteed income that people can spend however they want. The money comes from the federal COVID funds given to Chicago. We have more now from political reporter Marianne Ahern. Marianne.
Good afternoon to both of you. Yes, the city must spend the remaining COVID dollars or send the money back to the federal government.
Why wouldn't they send the tax dollars back to the federal government? No, they got to figure out a way to get rid of it. They got to figure out a way. These were COVID funds. These are your monies, COVID funds that's supposed to be returned back to the coffers so our federal government can be able to balance the budget effectively and not be able to overspend. No, you know what they did? You know what they did? They said, we're going to give it out to the people.
Low-income Chicago families will soon be able to apply for the second round of the Guaranteed Income Program, providing $500 a month for a year. City Budget Director Annette Guzman.
I think that there are communities that are having to make really difficult decisions about how to keep their families safe, how to keep their families fed, how to keep them clothed.
The city had $374 million in leftover COVID federal funds earmarked for various community projects, with guaranteed income one of them.
People need money. People need money to give back to their local economies, to pay their bills, to support their children, to buy groceries.
University of Chicago senior researcher Dr. Shantae Robinson.
It gives people who are really the least among us in terms of resources a little breathing room.
Alderman Bill Conway wants more oversight and is pushing for city council approval on how the remaining COVID millions are spent.
I think the mayor could have been a heck of a lot more collaborative on this, and my ordinance was really meant to do that, but unfortunately the mayor's allies buried it in the rules committee. We really need to make the CTA safer and cleaner, and that's something we would need to do immediately, and I think should have used some of this money for that.
In the pilot program, the requirements were you had to be 18 years or older, live in Chicago 1 year, economic hardship due to COVID, and the household income had to be below $57,000 for a family of 3.
When you can show across the board how programs like this really work to lift up individuals, but also whole communities, it really does go a long way in making the point that this.
Are y'all still catching the vid? Because that's a part of the economic hardship aspect of this whole conversation. It says you got to be 18 or older, reside in Chicago for a year. That's not long. Economic hardship due to C-19. Y'all still catching the vid? And then the household income below $57,000 for a family of 3. So now you also got to have a whole bunch of kids. You got to be under duress. You got to be irresponsible. You got to have been affected by something related financially to the vid. And you just got to be over 18 and live in Chicago for a year, and you can get you a free $500 a month because they got to spend the money.
Had to be below $57,000 for a family of 3.
When you can show across the board how programs like this really work to lift up individuals, but also whole communities, it really does go a long way in making the point that this is something that should be a permanent feature within our country.
So basically what they want to do is they want to guarantee income, create socialism, and then rob, because you got to pay for it, right? So now they want to rob people that have resources and work their butt off and then force them to give over to people that don't care and is willing to have children out of wedlock. And so you are now taken advantage of instead of being rewarded for your good behavior. This is how backwards the country has become. We have now been rewarding bad behavior on the backs of the people that take care of business every day and do what they're supposed to do. And we basically giving out free money as a result of it. Because it's not free. It's your money. It's your money.
First round 2 years ago, more than 176,000 people applied for just 5,000 slots. The application for this round will be available in the fall. Not just Chicago, other major cities doing this, and they're showing very positive results.
All right.
And I will guarantee you that they're liberal cities just like Chicago. And they don't necessarily care about the people, but they're going to continue to push it up. Now, when reporters ran up to Brandon Johnson, reporters was trying to get a hold of Brandon Johnson in order to ask him some questions about the migrant crisis, about this affordable income that he got. They wanted to question him about what was going on with the police officers, the fallen police officer's family, and whether or not they got closure. And so they was going up to him to ask him some questions, and he decided that he wanted to run.
My God.
Mr. Mayor, please wait. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, why do you have to run from us?
Mayor, we
why
just want to comment about the arrest last night in relation to Officer Weska. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, why would you run from us?
He just ran.
He got up out of there like he was Tiffany Henyard's homegirl. He got up out of there like he was Tiffany Henyard's homegirl. He not answering no questions. He don't want to talk to y'all. He not going to be accountable to y'all. He don't want to give y'all no insight, understanding. He don't want y'all to ask anything outside of what he's media trained to require to talk about. And so they got up out of there. They went out through the back door. All of the reporters was sitting there waiting at the front door. They dipped out of the back door. They jumped inside of the SUV, and he got up out of there. He said, we gone. He said, we gone. You ain't going to see me. I don't want to talk to you. I'm about to go and chill with my family. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Listen. We're not necessarily concerned with, hold on. Because I know that you want to criminalize the decriminalized. The reason why we passed the SAFE T Act, now this was largely voted on and supported by all of your legislators inside of the Illinois government, not just here in Chicago. So if you guys are feeling some type of way, make sure you leap at and go and talk to your governor. J.B. Pritzker? Yes. Yeah. Is that the governor of Illinois? Is that the governor of Illinois? Now, I talked to the archdiocese, and they decided that they wanted to send up some prayers on behalf of our youth. You mean the criminals that keep killing cops? No, listen. I understand that this is a situationship that calls for gentle hands to be placed around the family of our fallen police officers. Now, what we did was we respected the family's wishes and not showing up to the funeral because we don't want to politicize this. But it's important for us to tone police our language and make sure that we're not A, criminalizing, B, these are just large gatherings, and C, we want to respect due process, okay? So when we removed ShotSpotter, which was largely the way in which we got identification for Officer Luis, rest in peace to his family, which was largely the way that we got identification for shots fired in that particular area. We understand that we want to remove the budget for that. Now, it doesn't even put a dent in the budget, especially considering that we have over $100 million allocated for overtime for police officers, so they're just going to have to pick up the slack. We're not doing any hiring. We're not doing any of these things, okay? So, to answer your question, no, I'm not running. No, I'm not running. I have a meeting that I have to get to over at my elementary school. Shout out to Brandon Johnson. If you guys ever need voiceover work and you're doing a movie and Brandon Johnson don't want to talk, just come and holler at me, man. Give me my $30 million. I'm going to make sure that you guys is taken care of. I know these politicians. Listen, all we got to do is put the Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible mask on. I can go out there. I can talk to the citizens of Chicago, stand there, look at them in their eyes as they plead out for help and ask for some sort of love and help people out here in these streets of Chicago. And I can just sit there and put my hands behind my back, act like I'm not looking at y'all, talk to my friend over here in the corner, and just keep on moving. I know who Mayor Johnson is. You know who Mayor Johnson is. We're the people's mayor. Look at him. He getting the bottom.
Mr. Mayor, why would you run?
And him and Tiffany Henyard both got the same cars, the same security detail, the same amount of staffing, except for Chicago generates billions and Dalton only get $30 million in tax revenue from their residents.
Come on.
He just ran.
He just ran. That is your leadership, ladies and gentlemen.